Okay, what we have here is a Dell XPS top panel. This is Jesse's, and I need to cut a hole for a 240 radiator location in the top. So what I'm going to do here is just use our masking tape, our 233 plus Scotch tape. So now that we have the tape applied, I'm going to determine the location for our hole. Jesse had made a mark right here on the back lip for clearance, and what I'm going to do is just use a measuring square to record that. It's the easiest way to record a measurement. So there's our clearance line. This is a cardboard template made by MMPC Tech for 240 radiator. It's got the standardized 15mm spacing for the fasteners. Now I'm just confirming our template is centered before we mark off the location. And once we have our location determined, you can take some small pieces of tape if you don't want to hold the template the whole time in place, and just tape it down. Now what's unique about this top panel is that it's aluminum, but it's one of the thickest computer case panels you're going to find ever. They stopped making the Dell XPS, I believe, this style in 2008, but don't quote me on that. It's right, 2007 or 2008. And this is 1/8 inch thick. 1/8 inch thick aluminum, which would be awesome if a lot of manufacturers use this thick of aluminum on computer cases. I would love it, and that is part of the appeal of why so many people are finding these old XPS cases and modifying them now and converting them to from BTX to ATX. Now this template is designed for somebody that's going to take a hole saw to each hole, which for 120mm, the closest hole saw you'll find in inches is 4.5 inches. I'm not going to do that though. I prefer cutting out radiator holes with a jigsaw instead. It's just faster and easier, in my opinion, providing you have a good jigsaw blade. I use an 18 TPI, T per square inch, bimetal cutting blade in our jigsaws, so should cut through this aluminum with no problem. Now, how I address doing it with a jigsaw instead of hole saws, as I join the two circles together, just take your roll of tape and go over the fasten holes and join the two circles. See, the two circles are joined right at the edge. And now we have one large piece we can cut out. When using a jigsaw, you can't just go ahead and start cutting. You have to make an initial cut with something. You can use something like a 1/4 inch size drill bit to make a hole on the inside of the circle, or what I like to use is a rotary tool with a reinforced cutting wheel on it. And this is a Black & Decker RTX, which if you've seen my video review in the past, we love these Black & Decker rotary tools, and I feel personally that they have a better motor in them than Dremel does, and they're about half the cost of a Dremel rotary tool. So sometime take a look at my Black & Decker RTX review. You can get these at Amazon.com, or sometimes there's people on eBay that have new ones for sale. So what I'll do is I'll take and make a cut. Oh, actually what I'll do is there's my safety glasses, is make a cut right here on the inside of that line I've traced. That will be our initial cut, and then I'll take the top piece and move it over to a box so I can cut the opening on a box, and the box will catch all of the debris inside. I can't say enough, before you use any type of power tools, especially when cutting things, wear safety glasses. I just want to make a note here. Again, remember, this aluminum is 1/8 inch thick. It's pretty thick. And also, don't just sit there and grind forever regardless of the thickness of material, because you'll burn out your rotary tool motor. So what you can do is just kind of do a up, down, kind of on, off thing, just to help prevent your motor from burning out and prolong the longevity of it. This aluminum is 1/8 inch thick. Take your time and periodically take the blade off so the motor in your rotary tool doesn't burn out. It will prolong the life of your motor. Don't try to just grind it all through in one take if you can help it, especially when dealing with these heavy, thick materials. So there we have our big enough hole to put our jigsaw blade in. It's maybe about 1/2 inch wide. And again, remember, it's on the inside of that line that I drew. Now the next step is to take our top panel and place it on top of an open box for when we use the jigsaw. The reason being is that this box will collect all the debris, and I usually put the box just on a stool. Another great thing about having the top panel on a box on a stool is that you can walk around, or you can turn the whole box as you're cutting so it feels more comfortable versus trying to cut on a tabletop or a bench. I just find that works the best. Oh, and the blade again that we're using, this is an 18 TPI bimetal cutting blade. I'm just moving the camera back so you can get a better idea of what I mean about the advantage of having everything on a stool, so you can turn it and feel more comfortable as you're cutting, or just turn your body around the piece. Now another tip I want to mention is let the blade do the work. Don't feel you have to push the jigsaw to cut. Don't rush it. Just gently push the jigsaw because it's doing all the work, you're not. Alright, there's our piece. And again, you can see how thick it is. And actually, it cut very well, but I attribute that to using a really good bimetal cutting blade. I believe that the brand on this was Bosch brand. So that is cut, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a hand file with a rounded side and just go over and clean up this cut, and then we can drill our fastener holes. What I have is a Craftsman hand file, and this is a round side hand file. I've also heard these described as rounded side, half round side, and this is for filing metal or plastic, most any materials. And what I'll do is I'll just go over the edges here, because sometimes with the jigsaw, as you're doing some of the cornering, you may have some jagged edges, or maybe you've gone off the line you've traced a little bit or something, and this just, you know, cleans up any errors. So I'll use the rounded portion to go around this. You want to go over the back side of your cut as well. Just get rid of any jagged edges on there. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to go over this with sandpaper, just so it's nice and smooth. Medium grit sandpaper. Okay, so our main hole is cut out, and I just reference it back to our template. Now the next step is to make our fastener holes, and what I'm going to use is a 1/4-inch size drill bit for those. And before I make the holes, I'm just going to center punch each one of these in the center, so I've got a nice starting point for the drill bit. I like to use a center punch for fastener holes instead of trying to use the drill bit to find the center. I just find that you're more likely to get your drill centered better. What it does is it just makes a little divot for the point of your drill bit. We don't want to bend the panel as we're drilling it in any way, so I've just got some pieces of wood here to place the panel on top of to prop. So I can drill the holes through that and also save on my workbench surface, not wreck that. What you can use is a 632 size drill bit if you wish. I like to use a bit that's just a little bit bigger, 1/4-inch size, just so I've got a little wiggle room when fastening everything together. And he is going to be using a radiator grill on this too. So on the back side where you made your holes, there may be a little bit of deburring you have to do. Use a round file like this. Clean up those holes. You can also use sandpaper if you want to. The back side of the holes all filed and sanded down. Let's assess what's going on under the tape for any final detailing. So many more case manufacturers are now pre-stamping the top panel on their cases, so you can just install 240 Radiator out of the box because of the popularity of Corsair's H100 everywhere. Under the tape there's just a faint little edge of deburring that needs to be done, so I'm using a real small hand file. Just lightly going over the edge of the cut. This right here was a Windows sticker. I think it was for XP Professional. So it's just some paper backing. What I can use is some mineral spirits to remove that adhesive paper. What I have here is a deburring bit. I'm just going to go over these holes. One last final detail. What you do is you just lightly go through, or lightly place the bit over, and it takes off that rough edge. I'm using mineral spirits to clean off the Windows license sticker that was placed on here by Dell. And I discovered under the sticker they have a predetermined printed little template here, so the people in the factory knew right where to put the sticker and align it so it looked good. So I thought that was kind of funny. I got a kick out of that. And Jesse's here. I got that done like literally a minute before you arrived.
This came out really awesome. I mean, the edges, I can run my finger along and I'm not gonna get cut.
You know, that's funny because I made a point when I was doing the video to, this is why I'm going over all this stuff.
Yeah, and I think that makes a huge difference.
It does. Yeah.
Because with these, because trust me, with this case, I had a busted knee already. The edge hit me right in the knee and it hurt.
I know, because it's so thick.
It's thick and it's like if you right here, it's pointy.
Whenever I do something for somebody, you never know down the road who's going to own it or who's going to reveal it. Let's say like if you sold it and you had a grill on top, and then some guy like takes it off the chain, and he's like, who the hell did this crappy job or whatever? I mean, I've always done that, and then but if it like you reveal it, like, oh wow, somebody actually took the time to do it right when they did it. So yeah, cool.
It's like wooden trim in a car. Nobody needs it, but it's nice to have.